Hello and welcome to a 1v1 Supreme Commander cast, where I have a great time criticizing players who are much better than myself. But it's always a good and fun time to be had by all. And today we've got two very good players coming at each other today. They're both top 50 players, with Traptor being significantly more top 50 than Maitz. But this is a fairly decently lengthed game, so even if Traptor does manage to win with his UAF this time around, we should be in for a show, and at least we'll be able to see how these two players approach this map and manage to strive to achieve victory. Build order here, going for a P-Gen first, that's looking a little bit unusual. Again, what a player can do here is grab the 3 mexes here and then build the hydrocarbon without too much difficulty. But Traptor is going for something a little bit different, a little bit bolder, perhaps trying to get a bomber out a little bit quicker. Let's see how Maitz is doing. Yes, Maitz is going the slightly more traditional mexes first, then the hydrocarbon. He does have one PG in up here. I don't know if that came in first or later, but certainly the two players here have gone for a slightly different build order, and we can keep a close eye on that to see how they are doing. Both going T1 Land Factory first, no surprises there, and we should see them both going Air Factory second as well. Again, no surprises there. This map is quite a large map with very clearly designated mass spots, you know, the 2-4 spots. 2-4? There are 4 spots, 2 for each player. Typically, we would see each player move his ACU into one of the regions at some point later on in the game, with T1 mass spam trying to secure the rest of the map and try and do some harass. Airplay on this map is also very popular. Personally, I've always found this map quite difficult to play because you have to divide your forces into 2 distinct groups. It's usually always too difficult to, or takes too long to transfer forces from one sector to the other. So to do well on this map, you really do have to have 2 clearly defined and distinct armies or forces that are able to exert pressure in the north and south, typically simultaneous fighting. So this can be a very demanding map to play. Very difficult for a turtle to do any kind of turtling on this map at all. It's quite open, a lot of nooks and crannies to get in. We have Maitz coming out first with some scouts to see what is up. The bomber is coming out first from Traptor. This is not going to do well. It's been found. The scout will probably hang on it, which it will be an interceptor coming out there already is an interceptor out. So as long as the scout sticks on this bomber, it will have no chance with this interceptor coming to get. And for the sake of Maitz's micro, I hope that is what's going to happen. The bomber looks like he's losing the scout. Come on, Maitz, you can't lose that guy. It's a freebie. No! There it is. Come on. Come on. Come on. That is okay. So Traptor is trying to get the interceptor without the interceptor, so we'll see how this works. Maybe Traptor is... No, it's got the dodge and the weave in there. So the air duel is... Oh no, is Traptor going to kill the interceptor? Is the bomber going to survive? What I thought was going to be a very easy kill was handled quite well by Traptor. And yeah, the bomb is dead. He managed to dodge and weave one interceptor, but not the second one. The bomber coming from Maitz. Is this bomber going to do well? His first tier 1 bomber players are extremely popular, but the past number of casts I've done, they've often not achieved results at all, which makes me think that the meta might be a little bit unwise here. Maybe just a few interceptors first is all that's necessary to counter your opponent's bomber, and then instead of those resources going into the bomber, do something different with that. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but I haven't seen these bombers achieving results at all. We've had 2 bombers come out on the plane. Both of them failed to do anything materially. At most, they managed to force the opponent to build interceptors. But as far as the meta goes, that happens anyway. We've got 2 vs 2 here. The best micro will probably win this, and looks like it's going to go to the Cybran. The best micro wins this, and the Mantis stands still. That just, oh well. The Cybrans win. Okay, so what have we got going on over here? Are the mexes still on T1? They are still T1. We've got a number of T1 mexes coming out. A second Air Factory, that was a bit of a surprise. I'm not quite sure why that happened. But again, these players are 2 air factories here as well, so maybe I need to adjust my build order to include a second air factory just to stay cool with the kids. Okay, so both players have sent the ACUs out, top and bottom. No surprises there. And T1 trying to secure the other areas. Again, no surprises here. Engineers moving down in the map. This is where some raiders can be very effective if they can find any engineers and try and limit the economy expansion of the opponent. That can be a very effective thing that both players are wanting and are doing. I'm struggling a little bit here with my throat this evening, but I'll persevere. I've got my tea and I am equipped to get us through this game. Another T1 bomber. I don't quite know if this is going to, if they're worth it, but they're trying to make them work. I'd rather see more T1 land units at the rate these bombers have been performing. And there are quite a lot of interceptors up from Mate, so I don't know, I have mixed feelings about these bombers, but they are committed to make them work. I'm just going to take a sip of my tea as all this T1 nonsense starts running around causing trouble. Tea is good, tea is live, and oh geez, engineer goes down to the right of the bomber, and another engineer goes down on the left to the mantises. So the bomber yields dividends. The interceptors were caught napping. So yeah, the bomber works. Still is able to sneak in and should be able to get at least another one of these engineers before these interceptors wake up and do something useful. Come on, Mr. Bomber. Mr. Bomber? Are bombers misters? Or is that just a bit too assuming the gender of the bomber? But the bombers are robots, so what's the correct pronoun for a bomber? Title. Mr.? Yeah, Mr. can do, I think. Nothing much to say about that. The ASU killed a few mantises. Ah, yes. Upgrades. Gun upgrades on this map are also quite good. It's a bit big for gun upgrades to really pack that huge punch that you can expect on smaller maps, but they certainly are still very effective on this map, because you typically expect your commander to be headed towards a whole bunch of T1 on either side. The gun upgrade will be effective because the gun upgrade, let's face it, does really well against T1 and gets vets on your commander, so things can work out well. It's not going to try and get you the kill, because typically the commanders are a large distance away, and these mantises are about to head towards the UAF commander, and that will be a mistake. Hopefully they will GTFO and save themselves for a large mantis swarm to perhaps take on the ASU a little bit later. Mantises come in swarms. I think that's the correct collective noun for mantis. The correct collective noun for a mantis is a swarm. Host or a murder? I prefer no, swarm. Okay, so Traptor identifies that the commander has been upgraded. He doesn't know if this is the gun upgrade or an engineering 2 upgrade. Both are very valid options, but he'll have to expect or be prepared for both of those eventualities. And the UAF commander is pushing up first. There are no upgrades on the UAF commander, but this amount of mantises are still easily handled by it, especially with so many strikers in the vicinity. This commander should have no difficulty clearing out blue in the bottom sector of the map. And similarly, with the gun upgrade on the Cybran, stealth, upgrade stealth. Okay, that's interesting. It's not something I would personally choose to do, but I mean, Traptor knows he's here, so there aren't going to be any surprises with the stealth from the commander, but we'll see how this plays out. I might have to go to the Traptor point of view to see if the ACU is going to surprise him in any way, but... Or maybe stealth is just super cheap. It's not something I'm going to have to look up how expensive stealth is to see if it is actually worth it. I guess I assumed it'd be more expensive. I've never done it. I typically play UAF, so the finer details in the other factions I might be confused or a little bit unsure about, but like you and everyone else who plays this game, learning is a thing that happens, and learning is a lifelong pursuit. So keeping an open mind and learning is what life is all about. These mantises are going to... This is just bad. There's nothing good here for these mantises. This is just wreckage for some red engineers to come and claim. Another 2-1 bomber. At least what I like about these bombers is that they aren't being formed in a group. They're coming out as individual penny packets. Individual penny packets, and they should be able to pick off the odd engineer here and here, there, every 2 minutes. An engineer or 2 go down. Very annoying. So I like the way he's using his bombers. Is he going to get the radar installation or both? Prioritizing the radar. Okay, so the enemy can't identify where the bomber is. Also, the radars are actually quite expensive. They're not that cheap. Okay, Mr. ACU, I think you need to do some work here. Maybe build a land factory or something. But yeah, T1 PD is definitely going to keep you safe. So overall, the economies between the two players are quite steady. But Traptor is going to definitely shoot ahead as he is able to secure his enemy's expansion. Well, Maitz is, well, I don't doubt his capacity to secure his expansion. He is just a little bit slower and a little bit more behind in doing so. So that will yield an economic advantage to Traptor, which might cascade into a win. We've got T2 land out, which is nice. Traptor great into T. So okay, so Traptor is going T2 engineering suite on his commander. It's really nice from a casting perspective that both of these players are using this mod that tells me what upgrade they get. It is super handy. So thank you to them. I don't know if it is for my benefit that they do this, but it is appreciated. We've got T2 P-Gens, and Traptor has invested quite heavily into his T2 land. Maitz has doing likewise, but he appears to be a little bit behind, and this is going to be a challenge for him to deal with. These rhinos are too alone to be dealing with this. They want to definitely clump up and form a cohesive, coherent force. And we've got a little fight over here, we've got a fight over here, we've got a little fight over here. So there's quite a lot to keep track on for these players. We're going to see a PD coming down. Okay, there's a PD rushing down, but build faster, or bad things are going to happen. But these strikers are going to kill some T2 rhinos, just outnumbering them, so that's cost-effective engagement. They might get some... No, these PDs are going to stymie any trickery over here. Traptor is a little bit more ahead in the economy, even though Maitz has upgraded some T2 mexes. Traptor just has about the same, but he has these mexes here built up, and Maitz is a little bit behind, even though I don't doubt these mexes will be built up very soon. That PD isn't. He did some work denying this area to the ACU until, you know, an upgraded ACU could come and ravage it. But yeah, so that PD did work by denying, even though it didn't get any actually kills itself. We have a torrent of strikers coming out with a commander down here, so this is trouble. Maitz isn't going to be able to hold on to this area, I don't see, for much longer, and it'll be quite easy for him to walk up here. I like the way, a lot, the way Traptor is handling this. Maitz has shoved down some T1 PD to put his infrastructure here, so Traptor is going like, yeah. The thing about static defenses is that they are very static, so he's trying to come around and try and do some damage by raiding, but fortunately for Maitz, he's got some runners to deal with that, so that's very nice. Traptor going for the gun upgrade now. He's got quite a lot of upgrades on the. He's got the T2 engineering upgrade, I think. Yes, you can tell that from his hit points. So I don't quite know why. Maybe he wants to throw on a triad. That's the only thing I can think of. Silly me. That was the gun upgrade. He already had the engineering suite upgrade. Oh jeez, keeping track of the upgrades. Okay, let's just assume both commanders are just fully upgraded, and that might make a little bit more sense. Okay, so Maitz is still a little bit slow in securing the mexes here, but he's forming a force that he is now going to try and threaten Traptor's base, but I feel he isn't going to have enough here. He has to worry a lot about what's going on over here. But the good thing for Maitz is that there's going to be some wreckage that's going to be left behind, and T2 wreckage is fairly substantive. This is worth mass. So if he can control the fighting to be in this area, easy to his main base to reclaim wreckage from, that could work in his advantage. Where? Ah, there he is. I lost him for a while. I thought he might be doing something tricky, but he's just, I don't know. He got a bit distracted. He saw a Pokemon, you know. you got the rare Pokemon you didn't have before, so he had to catch that before resuming his quest to kill more engineers. Another bomber out, this is nice. Just the odd bomber now and again, just a very cost-effective strike, deals damage on those mantises. So it's good to see. T1 bombers do a really good job to clump up T1 units. It's just the only issue is the micro, and if you periodically bring a singular bomber out here and there, it's going to be very cost-effective. I really like the way Traptor is actually doing that. It's a neat way of getting some cost-effective strikes in that's going to constantly annoy your opponent, trying to look for a superiority. You can't have the intercepts up all the time, so these bombers are going to get through once every 2 minutes. It is so smart. I really like it. It's very spicy. Okay, this is an uncharacteristic lull of fighting on this map, as both players are being cowardly. Mace is trying to get some economy going with his energy. Traptor is moving forward. Or not. He does not know about this land factory, he doesn't care. Although Mace would be very brave to be building from that. At least, okay, Traptor's looking for some information on his opponent. Okay, this is it. Whenever there is a lull in the fighting, okay, your opponent is doing something, so you want to see what he is doing. So he had a scout plane fly over here to give Traptor information, so that was nice to see. Okay, I hope he has overcharge, because that's really effective against T2 tanks with the commander. He does have overcharge, okay, so there's an overcharge shot. So he could, if he needs the mass, to reclaim these with his ACU, or he might move forward. I don't think he should move forward. Oh, now that's just mean. Okay, it's at that time of the game where TMLs are a real possibility. Mace has identified it. So, were there any kills on this thing? There are no kills on this. So somehow Mates saw the TML before managed to get a few hits in, managed to throw up some TMDs, which is great to see. Usually you can always get in a few hits with a TML. So on any map like this where there are two T2 maxes lying around, rushing up a TML around about the 15-minute mark is a super effective way of leveling the playing field. And I've seen that often happen. But not this time. Mates is prepared, or he saw it. He will definitely need a TMD up here. I don't know. It should have range, I think, of this area up here. The 2 missiles in it, so if he wants to use them, the window is now. Okay, and that mix is going to go down to a TML, I'm sure of it, if he gets around to launching it. Wisely projecting his T2P gens. Again, another lull as the players try and figure out what they're going to do, what move they're going to make. A radar. Traptor is ahead in the economy, but not hugely so. So there's still capacity in this map for mates to take some cost-effective engagements and win. But the truth is, I think Traptor has been taking the lead in making cost-effective engagements, although the fighting has largely been mostly near Mates' base, so he possibly has had an opportunity to take more reclaim than Traptor could have done. This is very uncharacteristic. There's such a lull in the fighting here. Both players are struggling to commit. Traptor is now moving forward, where is actually a very substantive force. We've got some PD guns, nothing to do with tactical missile defenses or launchers at all. Yeah. T3 land is nice, but if you only have one unit that's going to come out, it's going to get overcharged. You really need some Cerebruses to try and hold this off, or to keep the commander at bay, because he can easily handle the point defenses without taking any damage at all. So he either needs quite a few T3 land units, or a number of Cerebruses, which is now building that coming online, which is nice. Okay. And again, the push down here, I think this is going to be an okay fight for Mates. His command is looking a little bit low. He definitely wants to get some veterancy, but as long as he's going to overcharge and he can get veterancy. Oh no, don't die here. Oh, don't block yourself. Oh no, this is it. I think he's going to die here. I thought he wouldn't, but there it goes. Okay, he very nearly made it out there from the skin of his teeth, but it wasn't to be, and that's the game. Okay, so Traptor is not much more, but substantively more highly ranked than Maiz. I guess it came through a little bit in the game, the way he played. There were no major mistakes from Maiz at all. Both players played well. I think the key differences this time around were maybe Traptor economied a little bit sooner, or actually I think the truth is that he managed to secure his opponent's expansion here just a little bit quicker than Maiz secured this expansion here, and that gave him an economic advantage in the game. There was also some very nice play from his Tier 1 bombers, even though I criticized them so horribly in the beginning of the game. To be fair, the first Tier 1 bombers didn't do much at all, but he kept on building the new Tier 1 bomber every 2 minutes or so and just sending them up on the map, taking some very cost-effective strikes, and that was great to see. And if there are bombers on the map, that's always going to force some micro demand from your opponent, which is always good. Giving your opponent more to micro is just going to cause him to make more mistakes here or there. It was great to see that Maiz anticipating or observing the TML and adapting to that quite quickly. Traptor came onto the T2 land a little bit more quickly than Maiz as well, but that wasn't substantive. I think Maiz could have held this off with his... That's interesting. I just assumed he built a brick, but he actually built a trebuchet. Got some kills, so... Yeah, I don't know. It looks like... the commander is low, there are quite a lot of rhinos, they're full of Cerebuses, so... I'm just trying to think, would Maiz be able to hold this attack off? I think he might, because it depends what's coming out of here. That's going to be another artillery. I'd rather this be a brick or a loyalist. Had Maiz not died here, I think he would have still been in the game, although a bit behind and probably would have lost, but there was still a lot more fights had he not died here, but maybe he was feeling a little behind and a little bit more aggressive. Wow, okay, so I'm rambling on long as well. That was a very nice game between two highly ranked players on this map of a name. And yeah, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.